everybody. Remember when the sound of the future was built on synthesizers, moody vocals, and epic new wave vibes? Well, today we're diving into the history, the hits, the legacy, and yes, what happened to the members of one of the greatest bands to ever fuse rock and electronic music, Ultravox. Our story begins in the mid-70s when a band originally called Tiger Lily transformed into what we now know as Ultravox. Led by John Foxx in their early days, who was joined by keyboardist string player Billy Currie, bassist Chris Cross, and Canadian drummer Warren Cann. They experimented with glam rock, punk, and a whole lot of futuristic vibes. Their self-titled debut album, produced by the band and Steve Lillywhite with assistance from Brian Eno, laid the groundwork, but mainstream success was still a few years away. As it turned out, the group's future advanced in 1979 when John Foxx left and Island Records dropped the band, and we'll get to that shortly. Around this time, Currie toured with Gary Numan's Tubeway Army and contributed to Numan's 1979 debut, The Pleasure Principle. During this break from an inactive Ultravox, drummer Cann went to work for Zane Griff, while bassist Cross did shows with James Honeyman-Scott of The Pretenders and Barry Masters from Eddie and the Hot Rods. Ultravox restarted when Cann, Cross, and Currie were joined by Midge Ure after Ure worked together with Currie on the studio project Visage. Ure would be the one to help define Ultravox's golden years. With his soaring vocals, songwriting chops, and a vision for grand, cinematic synth soundscapes, he quickly became integral in taking Ultravox to greater success. Let me take a moment to ask you to subscribe to our channel. It's free and it helps us continue to bring you videos like this one. Also, check out MusicGoldmine.com, where we have hundreds of record awards like you see in this video and other amazing music memorabilia. With Ure on lead vocals, guitar, and keyboards, Currie on keyboards, Cann on drums, and Chris Cross on bass, the group was signed by Chrysalis Records and recorded their breakthrough album, Vienna, in 1980. With that album, Synth-Pop suddenly had a groundbreaking new group that was not afraid to experiment. While the group members all played traditional instruments, they were all also adept at electronic music creation as well. On the album's hit title track, Cann programmed the drum beat on a Roland CR78 drum machine. Cross played the bass part on a mini Moog, and Currie played keyboards and strings to set off Ure's spectacular vocal. Vienna brought an ethereal, heartfelt moment to radio stations who dared play the slow but powerful tune. It lives on as a total Ultravox classic, going to #1 in many countries and stopped at #2 in the UK. In a 2012 BBC radio poll, the track was named the favorite #2 chart song of all time.
The feeling is gone over you and I means nothing to me. This means nothing to me.
Their next album, 1981's Ragin' Eden, was darker, moodier, and atmospheric. The album reached #4 in the UK with 2 tracks charting in the top 20. The Thin Wall would hit #14, and driving anthemic track, The Voice, peaked at #16. Ure has described the album as his favorite Ultravox release. Here's a little piece of The Voice. Quartet, released in 1982, was produced by George Martin of Beatles fame. It reached #6 in the UK and also became their most successful in the US, peaking at #6. Hit singles included Reap the Wild Wind, Hymn, Visions in Blue, and We Came to Dance. 1984's Lament was self-produced by the band and featured the massive hit Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, a track that somehow contained a dark and brooding mood, but also a soaring vocal crescendo in the chorus. It went to number 4 in the UK and charted in Australia and Canada. The title track of the album, and One Small Day, a mostly guitar-driven track, also became hits. In late 1984, co-wrote and produced the Band-Aid single Do They Know It's Christmas with Boomtown Rats leader Bob Geldof. Ultravox appeared at the Live Aid charity concert at Wembley Stadium in July 1985, performing Reap the Wild Wind, Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, One Small Day, and Vienna. It's reported that Midge Ure had a bad cold during his Ultravox performance, but it didn't show. Here's a little sample of Reap the Wild Wind. By the way, co-organized Band-Aid, Live Aid, and Live 8 with Geldof, clearly showing his philanthropic side. With the group on hiatus by 1985, scored a hit single as a solo artist, If I Was, topped the UK singles chart, with his album The Gift reaching number 2. While was working on his solo album and a tour, the 3 remaining Ultravox members recorded demos, but around this time the group members were drifting apart due to musical differences. Can was actually fired by the group at the time, and the remaining members recorded what would become the group's final album, U-Vox, with big country drummer Mark Brzezinski. Singles included Same Old Story, All Fall Down, and All in One Day, but the album did not do well, and the group actually split up later that year. After the group split, Curry recorded a solo album for IRS Records. Cross retired from the music business, at least for a time, becoming a psychotherapist. Can moved to Los Angeles to work in the film business. In 1992, Curry formed a version of Ultravox without any of their original members. They carried on through 1996 without a great deal of success. Big news came in 2008, however, and after the classic version of Ultravox had remained dormant for over 20 years, the most successful lineup of Can, Cross, Curry, and reunited for a 15-date UK Return to Eden tour in April 2009. They continued to perform live in the following years and released their 11th studio album, titled Brilliant, in May 2012. They toured behind the release, performing across the UK and Europe, but on November 30th, 2013, Ultravox performed their final show as special guests on a 4-date UK tour with Simple Minds at the O2 Arena in London. So where are they now? In May 2016, Billy Curry released his 10th solo album entitled Doppel. In January 2017, he announced that his time with Ultravox had come to its end after 43 years, and he focuses now on solo work and classical compositions. Warren Can moved to Los Angeles, working on various musical projects and collaborations. Chris Cross, who had co-written some tracks with and Curry on their 2012 album, sadly passed away on March 25th, 2024 at age 71. Midge Ure is still performing and touring and occasionally collaborating with other artists. He continues to play Ultravox hits such as Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, Vienna, and others, and champions his 80s music and synth-pop projects. Original Ultravox vocalist John Foxx continues to create experimental music and collaborate on electronic projects. Ultravox stands today as pioneers of the synth-pop genre. They bridged the gap between punk and electronic music and inspired acts like Depeche Mode, Duran Duran, and today's synthwave artists. Their music didn't just define the 80s, it built the 80s. One other side note, Ultravox's music videos were some of the most cinematic of the early MTV era and received significant airplay on the channel. All right, fellow time travelers, that's our deep dive into Ultravox. Tell us in the comments, what's your favorite Ultravox track? Did you see them live back in the day? Also, who should we profile next? Meanwhile, please do drop us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss more deep dives into the music that shaped us. Until next time, keep the new wave pulsing and the memories alive.